Okay, welcome back to the next session in the microprocessor and microcontroller module. In the last class, you people have studied about the fetch cycle, write cycle, some of the registers, and how these registers and the fetch cycle, write cycle will going to work. In today's session, let us know about what is the meaning of wait state and buses. Different kinds of buses are used in the microprocessor, and some of the interrupts, why interrupts are used and what is the purpose of using the interrupts. And next topic is about the microcontroller, why microcontroller, what is the difference between microprocessor and microcontroller, and the last topic is about the classification of microcontrollers. Okay, when it's come to the wait state, as the name itself says, wait state means it is waiting for the instructions from the CPU. Means many of the times, once the instruction is passed from the CPU to the any of the input or output devices for controlling actions or for performing any of the process, during the time, if sequence of instructions are not get over in that particular time, it will be wait for sending the other signals or sending the instructions which are in sequence manner. Means is nothing but a series of instructions are already flowing to the input and output devices. Once after completion of those instructions, the next instruction is passed. Till that time, the wait state is applied or allowed in the central processing unit. And one more thing, it is nothing but the delay time what will going to give for the input and output devices. And also it is an extra cycle time given for many of the peripheral devices that is get connected to the CPU, whether it is a monitor or printer or input output devices, because to complete the task or to complete the instructions that are given before the particular time of interval. Means in many of the devices, in many of the devices which are get connected to the CPU, you can observe that for executing the cycles of instruction, it will take some time duration within it. Means during the time duration, some timings is required for complete those instructions. For that particular time, they will going to give the extra cycle time for those kinds of devices to complete the task in that particular manner. Hence here the wait state is also called as, it is nothing but the delay time that is get experienced in central processing unit for completion of the instructions or set of instructions given to the other peripheral devices, and it is also called as an extra cycle time given to many of the peripheral devices to complete the given set of instructions that are already given to those peripheral devices. That is about the wait state. Here I have written the diagram of the concept of decoding and buffer delays. Is nothing but decoding and coding. Once the coding of the instruction to the CPU is over, again they will go for decoding it, whether it is in the right manner or not. Means executing, their buffer delays are used. Means in between the CPU and the memory, there are a lot of interconnections were there. There the connections are nothing but, you can observe here from the address bus they are connected to the decoder, then to the memory. Again for the data bus they are connected to the buffer delays. Means if 5 nanoseconds is required for passing the instruction from CPU to the memory, that 5 nanoseconds were get divided into get divided into two halves. 2.5 nanoseconds are utilized in the decoder and 2.5 nanoseconds utilized in the data. Means 5 nanoseconds of time of instruction, within the time period some instructions should get passed to the memory. Means your time consumption is happening in the decoder and the buffer storage unit, due to which within the time duration maybe it will give the instruction is for instruction is get settled or instruction is received by the memory, it is not achieved properly. To overcome these kind of issues or these kind of problems, they will going to introduce the wait state in between the buses. Introducing the wait buses, it will going to receive the instructions once after CPU sending the instruction to the decoder. Once the decoding is over, it will go into the memory unit. Next again, while coming back, again it is buffering, taking back to the CPU for the displaying it through the monitor. During the time, it will going to will going to add the wait state over here. Means wait state is giving an extra cycle time for the decoder and the buffer unit. Means the CPU sending the instruction to the decoder. In the decoder, the set of instructions will be decoded. Once it is correct, it is part of the memory unit. Once it will get stored in the memory unit, again while receiving back through the data bus, again the buffering unit will be there. Through the buffering unit, the bufferation is going on. There again the set of instructions that are passed will get delayed. To overcome these kinds of issues, they will going to use the wait state in between this to complete the task. That is regarding about the wait state. Next is about the buses. When it's come to the buses, buses are the devices which are get connected to the CPU central processing unit and memory and the input output unit, and also to the RAM and memory unit, CPU and input output devices. What these buses will going to perform? We know that we will use the buses for the transportation purpose. In similar fashion, when it's come to the buses in the microprocessor, here it will going to work on the basis of carrying the data, carrying the address memory locations to particular any of the device, and also for controlling actions, these kinds of buses were used. Means the buses are used in memory to transfer the data for particular address and for carrying or communicating the particular type of information to any of the peripheral devices with the help of central processing unit through that particular address bus. We will go into use address bus, and for controlling actions, for controlling many of the input output devices with the help of the central processing unit. Here there are three types of buses were there. One is for the data bus, and the second one is address bus, and the third one is control bus. Okay, this is the block diagram I have written over here. From this block diagram, you can clearly observe that this is the memory unit. There RAM and RAM will be present. That is nothing but a read only memory, random accessory memory. Central processing unit is there. Input output devices are there. Now you can clearly observe that data bus is connected to all three blocks, means for memory, for central processing unit, and for the input output devices. It's nothing but data bus will going to carry the data from the central processing unit to the memory unit or to the next to the input output devices. Means set of instructions from the central processing unit will get stored in the RAM memory, and that memory is again used for completing any of the tasks. By using that memory, they will going to perform with the help of the input output devices. Means data bus will going to carry only the data. It will going to carry the data. Data may be it may be 8 bits, 4 bits, 16 bits, or 32 bit or 64 bits. These kinds of data will be carried from CPU, memory, and input output devices. These kinds of data buses are bidirectional buses, because it will going to receive the signals from the input output devices to the CPU, again from CPU to the memory, again from memory to the other devices. Means it will going to work in bidirectional way in both the directions, because it will going to assess the data and it will going to give back the data. Again the same data is received back. With the help of that data bus, it will going to perform. That is why it is called as bidirectional data bus. Next, when it's come to the address bus, you can observe the diagram over here. Address bus is used for communicating with the CPU for that particular address only. Means once after giving that address to the CPU, once after selecting the address, and that address is passed to the address bus, during which the CPU will going to perform only for that particular address itself. It will not going to interact with other address buses communications. Only that particular address bus the CPU will going to communicate. While doing that, the memory allocated for that particular address is it will going to perform, and whatever the data, necessary data required to store over there, only for that particular allocation location or the allocation it will going to send the signals. For this, very good example is in our you can observe the telecommunication methods, and many of the sending the gift boxes or the gift vouchers to the any of your friends, you can clearly observe that. There, while writing the particular address through the transporting medium, it will go into that particular address, it will going to reach that particular address, and the box is received. Means there the address allocation will be only for that particular memory. In the same manner, the address bus will going to perform. Next, when it's come to the control bus, with the help of central processing unit, they will going to control lot of devices. That is nothing but the input output devices, and many of the instructions will also be controlled. Control bus will sells the control signals to the input output devices and to some peripheral devices, and here it will going to read the data from the input device, and also it will going to write the data to the output device. It means reading and writing is also possible with the help of the control bus. And when it's come to the clock oscillation signals, processing the signals, it will be in the form of pulses range, means it will going to send the signals in pulses range. There the controlling the oscillations and also the timing required for completion of the any task, these kinds of control bus is used. When it's come to the control bus is bidirectional. It will also receive the signals from central processing unit and from the input output devices and from the memory. It will going to send the signals. Because of that, it is bidirectional. When it's come to the different kinds of buses, data bus is bidirectional, control bus is bidirectional, only address bus is unidirectional, because only the allocated address wherever the memory is get fixed over there, only to that fixed path or the fixed location, the central processing will going to pass the signals or the pass the data. For that, it is called as address bus, means only in one directional flow is possible in the address bus. This is the bus architecture of a computer. Next, we come across the topic about the interrupts. When it's come to interrupts, we already know about the meaning of the interrupts, because while doing any of the tasks or performing any of the tasks, some interruptions will going to happen. To overcome that interruptions, there are lot of techniques will be there, and lot of thinking will be going to come across in this society. When it's come to the interrupts in the microprocessor, interrupts are used to do for the central processing unit by externally avoiding the externally sending the signal to the central processor to overcome many of the issues that are come across in any of the processors, or to any of the instructions or any of the cycles that will going to perform by the central processing unit. During the time, they will go for the interrupts. If any of the hazardous things or any of the signal outage or any of the problems occurs in many of the systems or the computer, during the time they will go for the interrupts. The main when it's come to the interrupt is a signal and causes the CPU to what kinds of interrupts it will going to perform is nothing but the first one is suspend normal operation. It will going to suspend the normal operation that is coming across in the process. For example, suspending the normal action. Once the set of instructions is flow to the memory device, central processing unit, while performing it, if any of the thing come around where we're going to stop the process. For example, if a line following conveyor there, in the linear path the parts are moving, if any obstacles were present or any of the power outage is going to happen, the process will get stopped. During that time, it is going to suspend the normal operation whatever it performing. Means to overcome that obstacle for certain amount of time, the interrupts will be there, it will going to stop the conveyor, means cutting off the power supply. Next is about jump to other task. In many of the process, when it's come to the jump to other task, for particular period of time, one operation is not performed. For example, if drilling, if once after completion of the drilling, the next operation is for grinding, or the next operation for any of the finishing operations, before that it should go to the lathe operations. Means if series of connections will be there in many of the machining operations, once after finishing of the lathe operation, that particular product should go back to the finishing operation directly instead of to the drilling operation. During that time, it will going to jump. Means in series way, for more number of products, if the one after the other, if the process is getting changed, during that time it will going to jump the other task. Means I don't want this kind of operation, I need other operation. During that time, the interrupts will going to play a major role. Next is about the return to the current program to place into where it has left. Means I already explained while explaining suspend to normal operation. While suspending the normal operation, it will go into the suspend the whatever the process is carried out. Means in a conveyor the parts are moving, any obstacle comes, the conveyor will going to stop. Because after overcome the obstacle itself, the conveyor start moving the parts to the required processing operations. When it's come to the third point, after removing the obstacle, again the interrupt sends a signal to the CPU, switch on the power supply, again the process should get started. That is about the return to the current program to place into where it has left. Means it's already left the operation over here, again it will come back to that particular operation to switch on by switching on the power supply to the conveyor. And the last one is finish execute the correct instructions, or finish execute the correct instruction. Means there are some delays will going to happen in many of the process. After overcoming the delays, whatever the instructions that are delayed for that particular time period, that should be get finished within that time duration. That is about the finished executing the current instructions. These are the things the interrupts will going to perform. And one more example about this is about if a microprocessor is controlling. If a microprocessor is controlling the large induction motor, when it's come to the large induction motor, if with the help of microprocessor we are controlling the large induction motor, during that time they need to control the temperature of that particular induction motor. But the controlling is happening with the help of the external circuit that is get connected to the induction motor, not with the help of the microprocessor. But the microprocessor will going to operate with the help of the signals, that is nothing but the output signals that is received to the type of any of the sensors. During the time, it will going to cut off the power supply. In this case, the induction motor will keep on rotating for particular duration of time. Once the temperature exceeds within it to certain limit, means it crosses the safe limit, the central processing unit will going to send a signal to the central processing unit will going to send the signal with the help of the sensors that are present over there. That sensor sends the signals, the temperature is crossing the limit, you need to turn off the power supply. During that, the central processing unit will send the instruction to cut off the power supply. But here the only thing it is monitoring is cutting off the power supply once after exceeding the required temperature. But that temperature is controlled with the help of external circuit that is get connected to the induction motor. Means the induction motor temperature is monitored with the help of other external device, that is nothing but the sensors here. Means here the interrupts are used in the central processing unit to control the temperature. Here all four types of things will be performed in this example. That is about the interrupts. Next is about the microcontroller. In the last sessions, you people have come across the meaning of microprocessor, why microprocessor, and what is the purpose of using microprocessor. When it's come to the microcontroller, microprocessor, a similar way they will going to work, but the only thing change is nothing but the microprocessor use an external memory unit for the for storing any of the device data, but when it's come to the microcontroller within the chip itself it have the memory unit, means it will going to use the RAM memory unit within the with get connected with other peripheral devices within a single chip. That is about the difference between microprocessor and microcontroller. Means the only thing is it will going to use the external memory, in the rear it will not going to use the external memory, within that itself it will going to use the memory. That is about the microcontroller. Here I have written the block diagram. The timer, it is get connected to the microprocessor, MUPI I am called to call. It is interconnected with the memory and the input output devices. Means here I have written the definition of a microcontroller. A microcontroller is a microcomputer on a single chip, that is, it is the integration of CPU with memory and input output interfaces and other peripherals such as timer on a single chip. Means it is get integrated with CPU, memory unit and the timers. Timers are nothing but other peripheral devices and also the input output devices to make a single chip, single small chip. And also microcontrollers are used for only specific purpose applications, means they will going to use for only the specific purpose applications. Microprocessors are used for the general purpose applications. And the next is about the classification of microprocessors. When it's come to the classification of microprocessors, they are made into 4 classification based on semiconductor technology adopted in it. Based on semiconductor technology adopted in it is nothing but they are using the semiconductor technology. When it's come to the semiconductor technology, in older days you people come across 4004 microprocessor, 808, 8008, 80856 and some different kinds of means 4-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit, you come across lot of things. When it's come to the 4-bit type of things, 4004 type, these kinds of microprocessors are only for the small applications, nothing but playing toys, washing machines. For only these kinds of applications they are used. Once after using this silicon technology, in that silicon technology there lot of memory inputs can be stored and the semiconductors will going to play a major role. We people have come across NPN type and PNP type of semiconductors. In similar fashion, semiconductor technology, that thing but the silicon technology, it will going to improve the processor bit to the higher level. Means if the processor bit is as fast, when the processor it will going to work, and also the cost will also get increased because the type of memory allocations you people are using around it. In semiconductor technology adopted, the first one is transistor logic. In transistor logic, while explaining about the bipolar transistor, you people have come across they are using two different types of transistor for the amplification of the signals. In similar fashion, transistor logic is also will be working on the principle or the working method of bipolar transistor. Next is about complementary metal oxide semiconductor. This complementary metal oxide semiconductor is nothing but they are using two different types of semiconductors, whether it is a germanium or silicon, for the processing the bits. That is about the complementary metal oxide semiconductor. Next is about emitter coupled logic. This emitter coupled logic is nothing but it's a high fast processor that are used in the microcontroller, means with they are coupling with the emitter logic they are made. That is about the semiconductor technology adopted. There they are using the three different types, transistor logic, and complementary metal oxide semiconductor, and emitter coupled logic. When it's come to the transistor type of logic, these kinds of microcontrollers are used in many of the applications, and also the processing speed is compared to the metal oxide type of semiconductor is very less. And when it's come to the speed and the faster type of processing the data, emitter coupled type of logic is very good compared to those two others. But when it's come to the complementary metal oxides type of semiconductor, your data storage capacity is comparatively high when it compared to other two things. Next is about the width of data format. When it's come to the width of data format, means higher the width, larger will be the cost, and the process speed will also be more. Means if 8-bit you are using instead of 4-bit, 8-bit have the more capacity compared to the 4-bit. If you go for 16-bit, if you go for 32-bit, if you go for 64 bits, means as the higher the width keeps on increasing, the processing speed also keep on increasing, and the cost is also keep on increasing. Based on that width of data format, we have come across a lot of bit format, 4 bits, 8 bits, 16 bits, 32 bits, 32 bits, 64 bits, etc., etc. Based on that, they will going to classify the microcontrollers. Next is about the instruction set. When it's come to the instruction set, in instruction set, some instructions are to be forward to the microcontroller. There you can come across a reduced type, and one is about the complementary type. Reduced type, sorry, another one is about the complex type of the instruction set. When it's come to the reduced type of instruction set, in reduced type only single set of instructions can be floated. When it's come to the complementary type of instruction set, many of the instructions can be floated, but these kinds of instructions will going to perform only one set of operation. But in reduced type of instruction set, only single type of instructions will be passed to perform many of the operations. But when it's come to the complex type, many of the instructions will be sent to the as instructions, but only single type of operation will be performed. And also in complementary type to storage and the other things will be maximum compared to the reduced type of instruction set. And the next one is about the type of data they will going to handle. The type of data they will going to handle. When it's come to the type of data handling, there are two types of data handling. One is about the floating data, and another one is fixed data. When it's come to the floating type of data, in floating type of data, here they will going to float the data, and they will going to store the data in the form of floating type, and lot of instructions and the data can be stored in the floating type of data. When it's come to the fixed type of data, here assessing the other data, we require the floating data type of instruction as an external periphery to it, or external interfacing to it, to assess the data of other devices. Here is nothing but in types of data handle, floating type, with the help of floating type of instructions, that is nothing but whether it is in a decimal form, whether it is in a numerical form, whatever it may be, they will go for assessing the data. When it's come to the fixed data, for assessing the other type of data, floating type of data is naturally required for the fixed data type of data handling. This is regarding about the some of the classification that are come across microcontroller, and also microcontroller, microprocessor are the not same, but their working things and the connected accessories will be totally different. So when in the microcontroller, the external memory is get included in a single chip, but in the microprocessor it is connected as an other external device. That is the major difference between the microprocessor and the microcontroller. This is regarding about the weight state and different kinds of buses and the interrupts, why the interrupts are used, and the microcontroller and the classification of microcontroller. Thank you.